client, I mean, I think FI team will be maintaining this, but still, everybody as a function consultant should have this idea like what and all they will be configuring. Okay. So it says like the alignment of these components must reflect the business processes accurately. T code for configuration is SPRO. So we'll be accessing that SPRO T code. Then there will be something called as what do you call? Uh, I think some image repository, something like that will be there. Reference image guide or something like that. They will be seeing multiple options in material management, financial accounting, sales and distribution, something like that. Inside each module, they will be defining their own parameters. Okay.
Yeah.
So since we can't have S4 and a trial account, right? So I'm just noted down the steps here. Like we need to open SPRO and we need to we'll have something called as material management, and we need to set up their company codes, plants, and storage locations. Like we need to go inside each, and we need to, like, say for example, we have our company code is 1000. We need to go over there and we need to define something like that. Okay. So in defining proper enterprise structure, it is critical or crucial for effective data management. And I think we need to create these things to initiate, as in, like, as a functional consultant, we need these to begin our transactions and all. This is very important. What and all company codes, plans, storage locations, and all. Okay. I've just this one implementation guide. So we will be seeing that implementation guide, and then we need to define this company code controlling area. This will be done by finance team. Okay. And we'll be having multiple options like financial accounting, controlling, logistic general, material management, something like that. And we need to, like, I just noted down the steps here. We need to just click on the define company, then execute the new entries, and then we need to give this info. Like if you are giving like company defining company, then you need to give like company name, detailed info, and company code also. Similar way, like we'll be like having controlling area is nothing but company code only, so we can just uh, click on this option, then it will be like available over there. And we have to maintain something called as valuation level at plant. Okay, like each plant will be having each valuation level to no, like not on the entities and like how transactions or something like that. Like how many transactions happen at plant level, and it shouldn't be at the company code because we'll be having multiple subsidiaries, and the hierarchy is like that, right? First, like company code will be there, then under that plant, under that storage, different storage locations. So that's why we should be defining maintaining valuation level at the plant level, not at the company code. And we have like different um, purchasing orgs like central, decentral, reference, cross central, and standard. We'll be seeing that tomorrow, like what is the definition of each, and I just wanted to make you get used with these terms. We'll be having like financial accounting there, where we'll be assigning company code to company, and then controlling like company code is like controlling area is nothing but company code. So we just need to make sure that it is mapped correctly, and we can assign plan to company code and all. And then so here it is like the cardinality is defined, like one purchasing org equal to one company code, and we can assign multiple plans to one purchasing org, and we can assign standard purchasing org to plant also. You are getting it right. I mean, I think it's too theoretical, but I can't help there. We can't have this, as for a trial account also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I think if you just explain like these theoretical terms like what they will do, even interviews doesn't ask to do show it in real time, right? Like they won't be having telling you to uh, you know share their screen and do it like they want to. But if you just say like as an consultant, we need to go to SPRO and implementation guide. We need to enter the define the company code and the plant
Mhm.
and storage locations, something like that. And we can have like multiple plants assigned to one purchasing org, but one purchasing organization will have like only one company code, and company code and controlling area gives the same definition. We need to just assign the country, controlling area to the company code. And if you just tell like this confidently, I think they will be like, no, okay, that this guy has worked on it, something like that. They will get confidence. Just like too basic uh, to start with. I just wanted to, you know, show this to you. Mm, I think you won't speak if we continue this for another 10 minutes. So we'll switch back to our BTP.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why like I hate functional things because it's too theoretical. Like here in
Yeah.
technical, there will be something logic. It will give work to your brain. Like if you want to define some parameters dynamically, then you will be thinking about like how can I define property? Like how can I convert? How can I split? How can I put some that condition? Something like that. It's pure mathematic kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
functional, it's all about following the process. Like there will be
Yeah. I totally
defined
agree.
set of process which you need to like kind of by heart, and you need to know everything
Yep.
over there. Like there I told like in purchasing or we have like multiple central, decentral, uh, different type of options. So each thing has its own conditions or properties. So it is very difficult for me to remember. Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So just a
Fifty
minute.
percent. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So today let's talk about something interesting. Okay. APIM. And then I know it is boring for first 20 minutes, but I think maybe we can keep it for last 20 minutes. What do you say? In my model, should I keep
That's
it at
best.
last? Yeah. Because I know like I'm bad at explaining it theoretically, but still,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. The best thing I can do is like prepare some notes like this and give it to you, and that will be helpful at least. So yeah, I just have some documents related to API. Okay, so few things which you want to understand, uh, like to first to make sure that we have like API enabled or not. If once we open the trial account or any tenant they work where production in real time, you should have something like this, manage APIs.
Mm.
If it is not there, then I think you need to go to the cockpit and enable the boosters, and like you can just add the capabilities over there. Since we have it already, so two main things where we APM we can make use of is these to configure and test. Okay, configure is like where we will configure API proxy, API provider, and the products, applications, and all. You can see there are in the API proxies or API providers is there. Certificates will be installing it here if you are using some based authentication. Key value maps is like in APIs. Key value map is like similar like you know say for example this is a client ID and client secret we will be defining. Okay, so in Postman what we did, we defined variable as this, the key as this, value as this, right? So if we go and put it basic authentication, we will just use key which has a value inside it. We don't need to give every time the value here. We just need to enter the key, and that mm, Postman or CPR SAP by default by backend it will only fetch it. So those kind of key value mapping we'll be configuring it here. So we will be having many like that. Okay, we will be defining API keys, IP address, and all, like we'll be defining that in headers. And I'll just show one. So if I just say like similar like Postman also, we'll be like having this client ID, and we'll be defining one value here. If you want to add multiple, we can always add here. And if you want to add specific name, okay, this we will be maintaining credentials here. Then you can just maintain like credentials. Then if you don't want others to see it, then you can always click on client encrypt. But if I just enter it here, you won't be able to see. Save. Then I will be able to view the key value maps here and policy templates. So in each API proxy, we'll be using some policies. Policies like to secure the APIs. Like we'll be having different kind of policies, traffic management policy and mediation policies and all, to convert or to add more security. That once we have that policies enabled, we can make it as like a template which we can reuse in another API flows. So if you want to reuse multiple policy templates again and again, then you can just define the templates here. Okay, I'll be explaining that in detail later. But so to begin with, we have something called as API Proxy and API providers. Okay, what is proxy in layman terms? In college and all, you might have asked for proxy and all, right? Right
It's
now.
like support.
Yes. So proxy is nothing but similar way in college you will bunk the class, but మీరు మీ ఫ్రెండ్కి చెప్తారు ఏంటంటే నాకు ప్రాక్సీ దట్ యువర్ ఫ్రెండ్ విల్ గివ్ అటెండెన్స్ టు a lecturer on behalf of you doesn't go to class, right? So similar way we have something called as like there will be like sender and there will be like receiver. Okay, sender, say for example, some third party is there. Backend, may there is one API in S4. In real time, what should happen? Say, consider this as a lecturer. Consider this as Bhavani. Okay, what should happen? Bhavani, lecturer should request for attendance, and Bhavani should say yes, sir, present. That should be the response, right? This is the client API. But what API proxy will do? So Bhavani will say like to his friend, you should give the attendance. So whenever lecturer sends the request, that your friend he will take the request and on behalf of you, and then he will only send response on behalf of you. He won't even see you. Whatever discussions happens, that is between lecturer and Bhavani's friend, not Bhavani. You are understanding, right? But Bhavani and Bhavani's friend will be in contact. Bhavani's friend will be saving Bhavani, right? So
Yeah.
similar way, same way. So sender is third party. Okay, third party. Say some third party guy, some other than your company. Okay, say if he's not in Accenture, he's some other from Walmart or some other company. He wants to access S4HANA backend API. But you don't want to share S4HANA backend API directly with him. You don't want to share the credentials. You don't want to share the URL, API URL and all with him because that is all a security concern. They can hack, they can modify the data uh, in between because every organization is a competition if you see that way. So they want to secure their own data. They don't want to show it. So if you want to save, secure this API, you will always go with the API proxy. The main agenda of API management is to have more secure, to make API more secure. Okay. So this API proxy which we develop here, it will act as a proxy. Like we'll have something called as proxy endpoint and target endpoint. Okay, target endpoint will be the endpoint of the target system. You know, like Bhavani's URL. Say in like, just as an example, it will be like S4 HANA URL, which we will be storing it here. But what we will do, we will give this URL, proxy URL.
Why?
They won't be knowing like what is there inside. Okay, this might be some other URL like, uh, but they will be calling this URL. But and we intern API team, what we will do, we'll call backend URL and we will get that response and we'll send it back to the sender. Similar way, how you do it in a college. Okay, so if you see this inside API proxy, there will be something called as proxy endpoint and target endpoint. So ideal thing is they should call target endpoint and they should get the response, but they won't do that. They will be calling proxy endpoint. That is nothing but APIM URL. You can see right. This host is APIM URL till.com. After that, this URL will be you know created automatically by API, and the subpath is what we are giving. That is next level other path which we are doing, but it will be like we will be hiding the target endpoint
Okay.
and we'll be giving some other URL. It's kind of like if you know as a business consultant you might be did this cloud connector settings, right? Like internal host and virtual host. Have you done that by any chance?
For me, I don't remember, bro.
Okay.
It's
So,
like 2 more years.
huh, like there will be called as internal host and virtual host. Like internal host is the real host. Okay. Like, say for example, if you see this is a real host. Okay. But in Cloud Connector, what they will do, they will define this real host, and in virtual host, they will give something like this. Okay. Some dummy trial account, something like that. And they will be giving the dummy host to us or sender
Why?
party. Because to make this secure, we don't want to share this URL directly with the third party. We don't want them to access, but even with that virtual host, they can access this URL. It is the same result which they will give, but we have to save this, secure this API.
Got it.
See, we don't want to make every data to be available in the browser. We don't want that our data to make it public. Okay, say your employee data, if you're part of Accenture, and your profile will only be there should be there in Workday or SuccessFactors portal. It shouldn't be there in public APIs,
Party.
right? Some other company shouldn't log into your ID and make the changes, right? You want to make it keep it secure. How they will
Yeah.
make it secure? They will be using like this. Even though like other companies can access our Workday successful portal or something like that, they can't modify your profile because they will be hiding your that URL. They can't access it. They will be giving specific roles only so that like view access only so that you can just view. We can't come and edit here that way. Similar way, like we want to hide our is for on a target APIs. We don't want to make it public. So then they will be using API Proxy, APIM. Okay, you got some idea? I'll tell you maybe once I show real time scenario, you will be understanding. And we will be
I got it,
having,
but
huh,
mm,
yeah, చెప్పండి.
లేదు లేదు అర్థమైంది.
Hmm, okay, so similar way, like we have, I told you policy, right? There are multiple policies available: security policy, traffic management policy, like mainly four: security, traffic management, mediation, extension policy. Security policies in the content, we have to keep it secure. The API is secure. We will be applying few policies. Policies as in like, basic authentication, user one password we will be giving. OAuth authentication where we'll be client ID, client secret and token URL. So similar way like we have SAML authentication, verify API key. And like there are many policies which we can make use of this to keep the API secure.
Yeah.
And similar way, we have like traffic management policy. Traffic management policy is nothing but, see, there will be like multiple messages. Sender team is sending a multiple messages, which is causing too much load on backend.
Mm.
We don't want our backend to be, more loaded, and if it is more loaded, then there might be, greater chances of it being going to downtime or not available or not reachable, something like that. So we need to control the traffic between sender and
Yeah.
receiver. Okay, so we'll be having something called as rate limiting, spike arrest, okay, or quota. So as in like you in quota, as in like you might know, like, okay, we just need to send so and so request per this time. Like you can only send 30 calls per minute or 10 calls per minute. Nothing but like one call per uh, 2 second, that way.
Yeah.
So we will be defining those conditions here, like spike arrest. Spike arrest is like, you know, we want to arrest the spike. Spike is like higher, sudden spike, like in layman terms, like it, you don't want messages to go spike. Okay, we want to arrest it when on there is like, too much of messages, or we have to apply some quota, or if you want to reset quota, then there is, for that also there is some policy. And cache is something like, when you browse something next time also, if you want to browse the same thing, like say uh, if you logged in Instagram or Facebook or something like that in browser, and next time also when you just click ins, then the automatically Instagram word will be available over there, right? Or the user password will be, data will be there. That cache will store the data which you have previously entered. Cache is nothing but it will store the data which you have previously
Yeah.
googled or previously, stored data, something like that.
Used.
Yeah. So similar way, like we have API. So sender team will be calling the backend APIs multiple times. He don't need to call the same API and again. Like some data will be part of cache. Okay. So if you want to remove that cache, if you want to enrich that cache, or if you want to see that cache, they will have multiple policies for that also. Invalidate cache, lookup cache, populate cache, something like that. And mediation policies also. Similar way, like if you want to convert from XML to JSON or JSON to XML, or you want to assign some values to the message, key value map operation, that and all we'll be doing in mediation. Extension is like, if you want to extend some properties over there, you can write coding over here, like Java scripting, Python scripting, or you just need to log message, or you want to just call the service, some service. Don't worry, like it will be like most of the policies will be having its own code. We don't need to write, we just need to understand the code. Okay, we just need to modify the parameters. So it is just theoretical explanation of API proxy. Okay, so I have something not bad. We'll just create one, uh, you know, our own API first. Countries.com. That, just a minute. Visible, right? My screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine we have something called as riskcountries.com as a target API. Okay, I'll just show you in um, browser. Similar way, like Northwind data and all we have seen, right? Like public APIs, free APIs.
Mm.
Similar way, we have one API called as restcountries.com, like where it is a list of countries. This API provides a list of countries. Okay, so this is a target API, but you want to access this. You don't want to. Uh, Imagine something like we have list of employees inside
Yeah.
Accenture. Okay, you don't want to share this URL to some third party vendor, but you still want you still want to allow them to get a specific info about employee because you are tied up with them or your partner, but you don't want to share everything with them. So what you will do, you will be using API proxy URL. Okay. So how to create that API URL? Like, you just need to click on create. There are three ways to
Your
create.
voice is breaking, Karthik.
Okay. Mm, I will
మొత్తం కట్ కట్ అవుతుంది వాయిస్.
okay. I'll just switch my network. Just give me a minute. Hello. Is it okay now?
యా.
Okay. I will just share my screen again. But you understood, right? Like what I was telling.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. So similar way, like here, this is some free API. Okay,
Mm.
which will have the info about the countries. Okay. So similar way, like in your organization, you will be having one such URL where you will be having all employees list, but you don't want to share that employee info to the third party vendor, but you still want to allow them to view some part of, like vary some part of employee info. In that case, what you will do, you will expose your URL via API proxy. How we will do that? You need to create an API proxy for that. Okay. You can create API proxy using three different ways. Like API provider, API proxy, and URL. Okay. First, we'll go with URL. How we can expose this URL here is like you just need to give that URL, target URL, which you want to, um, you know, here, I think not even here. I think this should be okay. Okay, you just need to give that URL here. Name, you just copy something. Say we'll call it as rest countries.
Mm.
Just give some same title over here.
Mm.
Okay. API status is active. This is by default. Okay, it should be
Okay.
active. And host alias is the same uh, API host. Okay, and
Mm.
API price path also, you just give the rest countries only. You don't need to worry about this. Like it's just like description and all. So since like we have two options here. Like if you use URL, we have REST and SOAP API. Okay, so since it is a
Yeah.
REST API, it's available on browser.
Mm.
We are giving it as REST. If you go to API provider and proxy, I think there is one more called as OData. Okay, you just need to click on create. Okay, once you do this, the automatic screen will come where and like whatever given okay, details we are given with that one, and we have something called as proxy endpoint which we didn't give. Proxy endpoint will generate on its own. Okay, target endpoint, we have something called as restcountries.com. Okay, and resources will be there. So you just need to click on save. Since there is one more API available with the same details, it is showing unable to register API. Okay,
Mm.
I'll just go over there. So what I did, I just created one, like once you click on save and deploy, this URL
Proxy
will
or
come automatically.
it will generate.
Yes. So with this URL also you can access, like if you just click on this URL, so the rest countries came and you need to give that query or okay. I will just add this query. Okay. here. See, you will still able to access it. How? Because when you call this API, API
Mm.
proxy internally calling the third party API. How it is calling third party API? Here in target endpoint. So the URL till v3.1 is here. Okay. So ideally,
So it is
what should
it is copying the actual URL or it is just replicating the actual URL.
no, it is not copying. We have maintained that URL, right? Like when we click on create, we are given this URL and we have entered that rest uh,
Yeah.
this URL. So that will become the target API. So whenever
Mm.
we call our API proxy URL, I mean whenever some sender team is calling this URL, so this will be calling this API v3.1. So this whole URL is equal to this URL. You're getting it right. So
దానికి ఎందుకు అంత URL ఇవ్వడం లైక్
అదే we don't want to share our info to them, right?
but it is showing the same thing, right?
No, no. See, okay. This is our URL. Okay.
Mm.
This is the real URL. This is
అంటే
what
మీరు
we
ఇందాక
have
రియల్
given.
యూఆర్ఎల్ ఓపెన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఉన్న డీటెయిల్స్ ఇప్పుడు ప్రాక్సీలో ఉన్న యూఆర్ఎల్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఒకటే కదా, సేమే ఇచ్చారు కదా.
Same data. See,
Mm.
same data only. I'm not saying it is different data.
Okay.
But we are not like we won't be sharing all the data with them. Just to show you, I'm showing this. Okay. We will be
Mm.
applying some security policies and all to them, like so that they can view only specific roles. Similar way, what basis a security consultants do in real time. Okay. You will be giving access to some integration guy or some functional guy, but you will be giving only specific rules to them. Okay. For an integration consultant, you will be just giving view access to a support consultant, but in edit access and view access both also for a development consultant, right? Getting my point?
Mhm.
So for a developer, you will be roles, you will be giving much more roles, but for a support consultant, you won't give all the developer roles to them. Similar way, the target API will have many info about all the employees or about all the countries. But when you apply API proxy, you will be limiting the data only to a specific point and you will be hiding that third party URL. They can't access it. Okay. Hmm. And it is just like since we haven't applied any authentication or something like that. Okay, we will be applying API key and all. I will just show that also. Just a minute. If you see between these two URL, the URL is completely different.
Mm.
See, only the last part is same.
Okay.
This and this. That is a query is same. Query allow they have to send. But other than that, we are hiding this. We are masking that URL.
ఓకే. అంటే లైక్ కంపెనీలో ఉన్న మెయిన్ థింగ్స్ ఏమి
Ah,
పోకుండా ఉండడం కోసం మాస్క్
yes,
చేస్తాం.
yes. We don't
ఓకే.
want to share our S4HANA API URL to them, but we still want them to access whatever like specific query if they want to know about, then we'll be using API proxy. We just want to make our APIs secure. That is the main intention of using API.
Yeah.
Uh, Okay, that is it. Okay, that is with respect to creating an API proxy. So similarly, like what I will do, just created APM. Okay, so imagine this is a sender. Okay, so here we will be calling proxy endpoint and we will be seeing the response here. But you are nowhere calling the third party API. So imagine Postman as a sender, he will never be knowing what is the URL, real URL to access the fields. Okay, he can only access specific fields, specific stuff like that, specific rules like that. Okay, Similarly, we have something called as India. If you want to access specific info about India, then you will give this query and will be seeing the info about India. But you won't be knowing the backend API URL. See, imagine uh, you have some money inside your home, okay? But you will be telling your wife or kids, like when somebody else will come, you just give this money, some part of money, okay, to some 2 lakhs to your friend. Okay, then your wife or kid is an API proxy. Rather than you telling your friend, you know, come home, take money, whatever you want. You are giving the lock and giving whatever you want. He can take 10 lakhs, right? Rather than just 2 lakhs, which is better.
Okay.
Okay. That is the same intention here. You are just hiding you are still locking your, you know, cupboard or something where you have all the money, but you will be using someone as a proxy to just share whatever he wants.
Okay.
Hmm. That is a good example. Okay, so these countries. Then we have something called as API provider. Before that, so now we were saying, okay, there is no difference between these two, right? So we have I have applied some policies here. Okay, I'll just show that. I'll show, like, I will tell in detail, but there is something called as verify API key. I have locked the explore. Explore is a CPI flow. Okay, so someone I will be calling API URL so that API in turn will call CPI. Okay, but with only API key. Without API key, it will throw error.
Yeah.
So there is something called as this. Just configured API key here. I, okay, I will send without API key. It will throw 401 unauthorized. Okay, this is the security which I'm applying. API verify API key. I'm applying in pre-flow. Okay, so you don't need to write any code or something like that. Okay, I'll just delete and show it to you how I did that. So just mm, hmm. So there will be some API like this, and you just need to click on policies, okay, and then click on edit, and then you want to apply some security policies here or here, and where is verify API should be in security policy. So we have it here, and I will just give some name, verify API key, okay, and that should be in the request only, not in the response. Like when he is requesting you some info about explore, so you want him to send the lock also. When you want your friend to get some money, you will be telling some code to him. Other than without code, you will say like don't like, you know, you, for example, his name. Bhavani will say, okay, you give this money to Chetan. Then your kid or wife will say like, are you Chetan? Then only we will give money. Similar way, like we have something called as API key security. Okay,
Yeah.
since it is already exists, it is throwing error. So that will be here. Okay, if you want to, if you don't want that error, you can come here and delete. Then you just try the same.
Verify API.
Okay, so that I've added in. Once I added, you can see the some script is already written here in the below. You don't need to
Yeah.
write code. Okay, what it says, verify API key. Like it has some description specifying the API key element where to look for the variable containing the API key. That means there is one variable assigned to it which will be holding the API key. Okay, and in the first line it says verify API key as equal to true, continue on error equal to false, enabled equal to true. Means we have enabled this policy. Enabled equal to true means we have enabled verify API key policy, and if it goes an error, should we continue or not? No, we don't want to continue. If he doesn't has a valid API key, we don't want him to continue. So we'll say like continue or error equal to false. If I give continue on error equals to true, even though he doesn't is verify API key, and if he still wants to try, it will be allowing him to access this API.
Mm.
Async equal to is nothing but it doesn't expect any, and it doesn't send any response back. Asynchronous, synchronous, right?
Yeah.
That way. So yeah, just given it as async, true. And then there is some namespace which is by default added by APIM and API key reference. Okay, what API key we need to use will be there in help.sap.com. You can always see that in the blogs which is shared, but that always we will store the API header in the header, API key in the header. That is request.api.key, right? Just add this request.header.api key. Okay. Then update, save, deploy. Now I won't send any API key. It will throw error. I'll just select this and send. See, it says hello Bhavani. And how it is coming hello Bhavani is because I have deployed one CPA flow. Okay, I've created one package. Okay, see, added one content modifier. In that, I'm just saying hello Bhavani. That API is calling the CPA, and we don't know like we are not sharing the CPA URL also. Ideally, we have to share that CPA endpoint URL, right, in Postman. That is also we are not doing. We are masking everything. We are just putting everything in the encrypted format. This is all hidden. We want to share what we want to share. We want you what you want. That way.
Mm.
Okay. And for this, we need to create an API provider. How it is connecting? Shit. See, we have API. We have created API Proxy, right?
Mm.
So in the target endpoint, we have created API provider. Means we have created this API using API provider.
Mm.
I have created one provider here for cloud integration provider. You can see this. So similar way, like if you want to, like in S4HANA, if you have some API which you want to expose it via API proxy, then you will be needing one provider for S4HANA. Okay. Provider with provider, we will be uh, exposing this. Like, see, when I click on create, okay, I just and CPA provider. If I go to connection, I'll need to enter whether it is internet or on-premise. Okay. Usually as for HANA will be like on-premise, we need to give host
Relevance,
name,
yeah.
location ID and all authentication. And
Mm.
since we are using cloud integration, I will be using cloud integration here. And cloud integration
Okay.
host, this and all will be there in the BTP cockpit. If you remember our first class, Remember our we have our instance and subscriptions created in here, right? So we have these two keys created. Okay, for API, you can
Mm.
always see uh,
Mm.
can always
Yep.
see that token URL, host,
Mm.
and client ID, client secret. Okay, so for that you can use this host here that I just created. Now I'll just show you like how it is a provider connection. If you see, I've given this host 81 till ondemand.com. You need to escape this URL, and it is OAuth credentials. Why OAuth credentials? We have OAuth token here. If you see here, open a
Mm.
token. This itself says it's OAuth authentication method where you need to give OAuth token URL, client ID, client secret. So that we have given it here. Authentication is OAuth to client credentials, client ID,
Mm.
client secret, token URL. Even if you create, just click on cloud integration and just click on OAuth2, you will be seeing client ID, client secret, and by default, it takes the OAuth token. You don't need to
Yeah.
give anything. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. You just need to click on save, and similar way when you you have an option called as disconnection. Once you click on save, just show it over there. Click on test connection. It says connection to system was successful with response code 200.
Okay.
Hmm. So this is how you created a provider, and then now if you want to create some API proxy using provider, you can always click on this API provider, and if you click on discover, there are many iFlows which are there, right? We have created so many iFlows to get call it dynamic query stream and all.
Mm.
We can use whatever API iFlow which you want to expose as an API. So we want to expose a explore. You just clicked on explore next, and here we need to give the authentication as the CPA authentication, which we configured it right here. Client ID, client secret,
Yep.
CPA credential. Similar way we can give it here. I think that is what we are given it here. We will give that. I think in here it will be generated by automatically when we create. I'll just show you when you create API proxy using provider. See a
Mm.
provider, discover. Say I will consider split by token. Next, basic authentication. I will use this. ID, then secret. Then see the details came automatically. I didn't do anything. So
Mm.
the HTTP URL which we will give at the sender HTTP address, it took by itself, and the rest all it took by itself. Like once you click on create, you can save.
Yep.
See API proxy URL it got created. Target endpoint will be split API provider. So this also we didn't create any provider, but API by default creates that provider over here, and you can see the credentials over here, which basic client ID, client secret.
Yeah.
Okay, this way, whatever even is for HANA, we will be having one provider, and whatever API you want to expose, that you will be exposing via proxy URL.
Mm.
Okay, similarly, we have like many policies available. Okay, for we have one such policy called as spike arrest. Spike arrest. Okay, see you can see this code is automatic. We didn't do anything. Like I
Yeah.
didn't even change a single thing. So
Mm.
it says rate equal to 30 per minute.
Mm.
What does that mean? It says rate of one call per 2 seconds. Okay, you can't call more than one call per 2 seconds. Okay, I've just applied that somewhere. I'll just show. I'll just try to call from Postman. Yes, we can send. First time it went, second time it went, third time it went. Like within 1 second, I just tried to call it again. It is giving 500 internal server error, spike arrest violation. Similarly, like when we call backend, some sender party, if we simply just clicking on send, it says it gives error. No, no, you can't send more than two message, per second, something like that.
Mhm.
Rate limiting a spike arrest. This way we are controlling the load on backend. We are controlling the calls. We are controlling the security. Like you come with a
Mhm.
proper API key, you have to send this messages only. We are limiting the data also.
Yeah, that's the main part.
Yes. So we are making the API secure. That's the main intention.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are hiding the backend URL. Why we need to hide even we are exposing the same data, right? Because it is a part of you, you can't give your you know company wala credentials to others, right? Why? Because you want to keep it secure. That's why, like when you're part of Accenture or some big MNCs, there will be like so much of confidentiality. You can't keep your laptop open and go somewhere. You have to change password
Yes.
every 30 days
Mhm.
or every
30
60
days.
days. Uh, why? Because of this reason only. They want to keep
Mhm.
everything confidential. They want to keep their data very secured. That's why, right, cybersecurity consultants are so hyped, and they will get so many money because of this. The
Mhm.
data is so crucial.
Yes.
The data inside S4 is also so crucial because they will be having all the business data in backend, and they are exposing the data via an API. If you see the Northwind data API, it has all the customer details and all. That is a free API. That's why you are able to see. But no API in any organization will allow their data to be public.
Got it.
Even AI comes, nobody is trying to adopt the AI so easily. Right? They can easily give money to AI and use that. Right? But why not? Why they're not doing it? They're so concerned about the data. If they train AI using their data, the AI, if someone else in some other company gives the same query, okay, I want to improve my success factor portal, same as Accenture. If they do that, and Accenture is already exposing the data to artificial intelligence will share the same data to some other company. They will use that data. That is the main intention. That's why APM, if you click on home, and like there are many other APIs which you can explore also. But, then there was one more PDF which I want to show. This I will cover tomorrow maybe. It's too
Yeah,
late. So
I
we
need
have,
to.
yeah, okay, okay. Fine, fine. Uh, um, so today's notes you want, right?
10. Yeah.
APM. Also, one more thing is like nowadays everybody is going for APA first approach. You've heard of it? APA first approach, clean core, greenfield implementation, something like that. Those are like buzzwords in market nowadays. Why
Mhm.
APA first approach? Because they want to expose everything as APA. They want to mask the URL. They don't want to show the
Mhm.
real-time URLs. They don't want anybody to hack that URL. Even the CPA flows can be hacked. That's why like we are connecting to CPA via API. Kind of double, two-way authentication or something like that. Just a minute, I'm just pasting the notes here. And that is too basic. I think it's not even a moment. Like it, even finance team will be um, what they have to define this company code and plan. That all comes under finance team. won't be sharing these recordings with others, right? I mean, I was just asking casually.
Hmm.
You won't be
Which one?
sharing these recordings with others, right? That is only
No,
for your
only
or
in my friends list, I am the only one with SAP, so there
okay,
is no
okay.
use at all sharing with
Mm,
them,
yeah,
and I don't
just
want to share them too. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm preparing these notes for my with my own time and all, right? So
Yeah, yeah, I
keeping
know,
some
I know.
efforts, and I don't want to be shared in market. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I shared the notes also for
Yes.
today's API session and MM.
Mm.
You let me know, like, if I think you don't want for sure, right? Like, you don't want class tomorrow.
It's better to if you are okay, it's not good. Like
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
okay.
okay.
Like if you're saying no, then I will make some other plans. That's why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Then we'll connect on Thursday then.
Hmm.
Sure. Okay, bro. Thank you.
Yep.
Enjoy. Have a nice day.
Bye.